Okay. Hi. Today I'm gonna be playing backstage infactuation. Um, yeah, I found this game on itch.io. That's fun. Obviously, there's warnings at the beginning of the game. Keep those in mind. Yeah, don't access unless you're over the age of 18. Just basic stuff, there's yeah, there's last dozen here apparently, and I want to find out. I'm always into a yandere kind of game. All I could hear was the steady thud of my footsteps on the pavement as I hurried to work. I really shouldn't have stayed up last night binge watching that new drama everyone was talking about on social media. The, the plot was shitty and it was only popular because of the famous actors in it, but I couldn't help getting invested. To the point, I finished watching all the episodes in one night. Yeah, that was 100% my fault. I began to quicken my pace. Hopefully I can make it in time. I dashed through the sidewalk, looking at my surroundings, and some businesses were already open. Anxiety gnawed at me as I realized I wouldn't be able to clock into work in time. This attempt, guys. I'm never watching bad telenovelas again. I ran all the way, with all the force of my body, praying to God that I could make it in time. Because I don't want to be late for the third time this week. As if the stars aligned in my favor, there was the unmistakable Parisian exterior, exuding that same elegance I'm familiar with. I'm almost there at the cafe. I fastened my face so I could reach the front door faster. Finally, my hand reached the pull handle and the cold breeze of the AC hit my whole body. I was out of breath, my heart still pounding from the run, so I stopped for a second to catch my breath. Finally made it. Before I could celebrate my small victory, a voice rang out, which startled me. There you are. I've taken care of some prep work, so there's nothing for you to worry about. I lifted my head to see Minzy, my boss. She's been here the longest and is also the oldest in the crew. It's always nice whenever she's on board. Everyone digs her gentle, attentive nature since when I was new on the job. She made my life way easier by teaching me the ropes and being super chill about it. She's a total sweetheart. She definitely acts like the mom of the group, always looking out for others and making sure we're all taken care of. But sometimes her constant worrying and fussing can be a bit much. It's clear she means well, though. She's genuinely concerned for all of us. Embarrassed by my current position, I immediately stood straight and fixed a couple of wrinkles on my coat. Hey now, no need to get all flustered. She let out a small chuckle, to sound light and reassuring. I'm just happy you made it work safely. Go get yourself ready. Customers will start coming in any minute. I couldn't help but let out a smile. It felt good to know someone cared about me, even if it isn't family. It was small, unexpected kindness, and it made the rough start to my day feel a little better. Years ago, I moved here alone to start an independent life. My parents insisted that I stay at home until I get married, since we're doing financially well and they are fine with still supporting me. I mean, we're from a wealthy family, but I just feel really guilty relying more on them so much, especially when it came to money. Sure, people wish they were born rich, imagining life would just be about buying all the best stuff money can get. But for me, I'd rather spend less than not put that burden on my parents, even if we do have that money. Growing up, everything was handed to me on a silver platter, but deep down, that it, I've felt that it just felt better when I worked for things myself. It just felt right. I get to achieve things through my hard work, not instant handouts because my parents' influence and money. Do I regret this decision? No. It's what I already set my heart in, and I'm content 10th. I did take some time to convince my parents, but in the end, we found a compromise. I'll handle my groceries and other expenses while they cover my bills and even my apartment. They even wanted to buy me a whole house, but I refused. I didn't want to hassle them too much, but they did get me a really nice apartment, and honestly, that's enough for me. I can see the city lights at night, and it's gorgeous. I could totally... Hello? Is everything alright? You're spacing out. I didn't realize I was spacing out. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Anyways, thanks for handling the prep work. I appreciate it. I said wholeheartedly. Of course, go dress yourself up in the staff room. Not in my head, I went to the staff room. When I reached the door, I knocked a few times just to make sure I wouldn't walk in on anyone. No take, no response. I took it as a sign to enter, and I was right. It was empty. Stepping inside, I closed the door firmly behind me to change a piece before heading straight to my locker. But the moment I tried to open it, something felt off. I could easily open it when it's usually not. It's supposed to be locked. Seriously? My locker jammed again? I just had it fixed 2 days ago. I let out a deep sigh, frustrated. I'll have to tell Minzy to call someone to repair it again. They really need to check these locks. Not wanting to waste time, I retrieved my apron and the rest of my uniform essentials from my backup stash. After changing, I stood in front of the mirror and tidied up my hair, carefully smoothing any loose strands. Looking neat was important. It gave customers a good impression. And Minzy always says the same thing. I was just about ready to leave when a thought hit me. My name tag. Turning the back. Turning back to the backup stash. I grabbed it quickly and clipped it on. Okay, we're just gonna put my real name because hold on, let me find. Okay. I took a sigh of relief, and before heading straight out, I clocked in. I came back to find Minji holding a bag of coffee beans. Struggling a bit with the weight, I hurried over to help her. Thank you. A grateful smile plastered on her face. She carefully poured the beans into the dispenser, measuring the perfect amount before closing the lid. I helped her lift the bag again, setting it aside. I stepped back to give her some space as she adjusted her appearance. I need to bring up the locker issue, but my hesitation must have been obvious. Minzy noticed and tilted her head slightly, placing her hand on her hip. Something on your mind? Just say it. She encouraged, her tone soft and reassuring. I'm gonna tell her about it. Because, yeah, even though that might get me, killed in literally any other visual novel, I'm gonna assume it's okay. You just need to speak your mind, you know? Okay. Readjust there. Alright, here goes. Well, my locker, it's dark again. Again? Her eyes widened in shock. Yeah. She blinked a few times, clearly at a loss for words, before letting out a deep sigh. Starting to believe your locker is cursed. She teased with a small laugh, lightening the mood. I couldn't help but chuckle along with her. After a moment of thought, her eyes lit up as an idea struck her. How about this? There's an unused locker you can switch to if your current one keeps breaking locks. It's best to probably relocate. Her practical suggestion made sense, and her calm demeanor made me feel less embarrassed about the whole situation. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. A new locker means new equipment and fewer chances of my lock breaking again. Excuse me. Really? I'll probably start after a sister if I have free time to relocate. That is completely fine by me. Hopefully that'll do it. I'll get that locker checked for sure. The gentle chime of the front doorbell echoed through the cafe. Customers are coming in, so we need to go. Sam will be here during the night shift this Saturday, but don't worry, I'll help you. Another Sam. My curiosity piqued. Oh, does she have morning and afternoon classes today? Mindy nodded, affirming my guess. Wow, respect. Juggling classes on a part-time job at a cafe? Impressive. Yes, she texted me earlier this morning to say she'll be here for the night shift instead. Looks like I'll have to wait until tonight to see her. The sunny morning had given way to dark, starlit sky. This morning had been surprisingly pleasant. No noisy customers, smooth traffic, everything was going just right. The front bell chimed again, and in walked a familiar figure, petite, bundled up in her coat, her presence lighting up the room. It was Sam. She adjusted her coat before glancing around, and when her eyes landed on me, I raised a small hand in greeting. A smile tugged at her lips as she quickly made her way over. Hey, do I have news for you? Oh, let me get into my uniform and clock in real quick. Without waiting for my reply, she disappeared into the staff room. That's Sam, always full of energy and excitement. She's a part-timer here, juggling shifts with her college classes as she works towards her English degree. But beyond work, there's something that truly brings us together. Lex. Lex is the boy group right now. A multinational trio under Aurora Rising Records. They debuted on February 16th, dropping a full album that catapulted them into global stardom overnight. Their harmony, charisma, and insane stage presence made them impossible to ignore. Sam and I, we're obsessed, two peas in a pod. Whether it's music videos, interviews, or rare behind-the-scenes clips, we're always updating each other on the latest news about the group. As Sam emerged from the staff room in her uniform, her excitement was palpable. You're not going to believe what I found out today. And just like that, another night shift became a deep dive into our shared obsession. There were no customers at the moment, making it the perfect time for a chat. Sam and I leaned casually against one of the counters. Hit me up, I said with a smirk. She hummed thoughtfully before breaking into a mischievous grin. Gladly. After clearing her throat dramatically, she leaned in, her voice dropping conspiratorially. Remember when they filmed Golden Rays? Especially that one on the beach where Min is sitting alone? I nodded. This was one of Lex's most iconic moments, but what struck me was the behind-the-scenes chaos. Story of the woman who had pretended to be staff to get close to the members. I remember that. What happened this time? Sam's eyes lit up. Well, turns out she's still at it. The same woman showed up during their shoot last week for that new campaign. This time she had a fake pass and everything, like full-on laminated and all. I blinked. You're kidding. Wish I was. She tried sneaking in again, but security got her before she even got close. Apparently she started screaming about how Min belongs to her. I cringed. Ugh, those types, why are they always so extra? Look at this, she didn't stop there. When they kicked her out, she camped outside the set with a giant sign that said, Mineral, I'm your destiny. I couldn't help but snort. Wow, that's dedication in the worst way possible. Exactly, poor Min looked so done with life when someone told him about it. Like, this guy just wants to work and vibe, and here she's acting like a wannabe K-pop, K-drama villain. I shook my head, my amusement fading into concern. I mean, this is funny in hindsight, but it's also scary. These people are getting way too bold. I know, right? It's not just annoying, it's dangerous. What if she had gotten close to him, or worse, hurt him? I crossed my arms. It's wild, they all have this security, but I can't help worrying about how much they have to deal with. No one should have to feel unsafe at their job. Sam nodded in agreement. It's a known fact that these so-called fans are crazy rich, bribing staff members, slipping into events. It's almost like a game to them. I frowned, feeling a mix of frustration and disgust. The fact that money can make it so easy for them to pull stunts like this is sickening. It's not just about being obnoxious anymore, it's straight up endangering the idol's safety. And some staff, they're not exactly angels either. I mean, I get it. Low pay, long hours, but taking bribes from these people, it's not just unprofessional, it's dangerous. I crossed my arms, the thought making my stomach turn. Yeah, it's not like those fans are subtle about it. Flash a little crack. Flash a little crack. It was a crack. Flash a little crack. And suddenly they're backstage or near the members' dressing rooms. How does that even happen? It happens because no one's willing to enforce boundaries properly. Sometimes I wonder if these companies are too focused on profits to care. Like, yeah, they invest in security, but it feels reactive, not proactive. Aside, the idols are the ones that have to suffer from it. Imagine constantly having to look over your shoulder or not knowing if the person handing you water is actually supposed to be there. It's heartbreaking, and not just physical safety, it's mental too. How do you stay sane when people treat you like a commodity instead of a human being? Her voice softened as she added, I was seeing face cams where the members are smiling on stage, but their eyes look tired, you know? Like this constant pressure is eating away at them. I nodded, my mind flashing to Min, the quiet strength of the group. I feel like Min especially would hate this kind of thing. He seems like someone who values his personal space. Stuff like this would mess with anyone. Exactly, it's so unfair, and it's not just him. All three of them probably deal with it in their own way. But they shouldn't have to. Sounds like this ruin it for everyone else. The weight of her words settled over us, and I found myself clenching my fist. I just hope management starts taking this stuff more seriously. No amount of money is worth their safety. Tell me about it. But they unfortunately live off of this. The stunts give them pass if they feed off the delusional fans. I nodded, my mind drifting to Lex as a whole. Yeah, it's scary to think about. They're just people trying to do what they love, but some fans forget that. I hope their management steps up and keeps them safe. Me too. I don't care how many layers of security they need. Whatever it takes to protect them, I'm all for it. The conversation hung in the air, a heavy reminder of the darker side of fame. All the joy Lux brought to their fans. The price they paid for it often felt far too high. To lighten up the mood, Aurora Rising Records actually did a complete staff overhaul. They replaced the old team with new members and tightened their security. That was fast. Honestly, it's impressive how they managed to pull it off in such a short amount of time. Dan's face lit up in excitement. Exactly, something similar happened in the past, and they did a staff overhaul then, too. The CEO is always extra careful when it comes to Lex's safety. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, why's that? Well, for starters, he's super protective of them. It's not just about their careers, it's personal. There's this rumor that he sees them more than just artists under his label, like he genuinely cares about their well-being. I nodded thoughtfully. That's rare in this industry. Usually it's all about profit. Word is, when Lux debuted, he made it clear that their safety and happiness were top priorities. So that's why he doesn't hesitate to make big decisions, like replacing staff or beefing up security, even if there's even the slightest hint of trouble. Honestly, good for him. The guys deserve to feel safe while doing what they love. Exactly. It's one of the reasons Lux has stayed so strong. They know they have someone in the corner who's got their back, no matter what. But enough of that. Let's move on to the other members. Have you seen Oriole's hat? Her voice echoed across the cafe, causing me to jump. Yeah, look. Her head glancing around nervously. Realizing her volume, she covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes darting to empty tables. Luckily, there were no customers around to hear her outburst. She let out her deepest laugh, tucking her hands into her pockets. Sorry, I just couldn't contain my excitement. I rolled my eyes, but I couldn't help it. You know how I get when it comes to Oriole. He's my bias. Alright. Sam's bias in Lex is Oriole, the leader of the group. Honestly, I could see why she's so head over heels for him. Okay, I'll bite. Why Oriole, though? Sam's face lit up like a kid in the candy store. Where do I even start? First off, have you seen him? He's like the perfect mix of handsome and approachable. But it's not about his looks. He's got this presence, you know? Like when he's on stage, you can't take your eyes off him. I nodded, knowing exactly what she meant. Yeah, notice. He's got that charisma that makes everything he does look effortless. Exactly. And don't even get me started on his personality. He's so down to earth, funny, and just real. He's the kind of guy who can make you laugh until your sides hurt and then turn around and give the most heartfelt speech that makes you cry. She paused for her breath, her excitement bubbling over. And he cares so much for the other members. Have you seen how much he looks out for them? How he looks out for them? Like when Min was sick during that fan meet, Oriel literally rearranged the entire schedule so Minro could rest. Sorry, I know I'm butchering that. Who does that? Her voice thinned as she continued. It's not just his leadership skills, though. He's so insanely talented. He can sing, write, dance, compose, and his songs always put the top of the charts. He's won so many awards, it's ridiculous. I chuckled. Wow, he really likes him, huh? He's the total package then. He really is, but what I love most about him is how he stays humble through it all. Even after everything West has accomplished, he always gives credit to his members. He always gives credit to his members, the staff, and the fans. Just inspiring. Her eyes sparkled with admiration, and I couldn't help but smile. Alright, I get it. Ariel's the best. You're damn right he is. She giggled, pausing mid-laugh as her eyes lit up with curiosity, sparkles practically dancing in her gaze. He leaned in closer, the sudden proximity making me flinch slightly. I just realized, I never knew your bias before. That's not fair when you already know mine. I blinked, caught off guard. Oh yeah, she's got a point. Despite only knowing each other for 2 weeks, most of our conversations have been all about her interests and excitement. I haven't shared much about myself at all. My cheeks warmed, a blush creeping in as I realized how one-sided things have been. How silly of me. Did I tell her? I'm super embarrassed, honestly. He's kind of overrated, and what if he cheers me? And it's still the beans. Well, no, there's 3 of them. I stammered, trying to buy some time. Uh-huh, she replied, her gaze narrowing in deep focus, clearly hanging onto every word of my response. I felt my palms grow a little sweaty under her intense scrutiny. I mean, Oreo is cool, same with Min, but before I could finish, her hand shot out, covering my mouth as she gasped dramatically. Don't tell me Kier is your bias. Wait, who's Kier? Hold on, I'm gonna look at the, thing on it. I think mine might be Min, or... Honestly, yeah, Kier or Min. I don't know, man. Kier or Min. Okay, her voice was half accusatory, half excited, like she just uncovered a scandalous secret. You did. My muffled protest behind her hand made her grumble. She leaned back slightly, removing her hand with a knowing look. I know it, you've got that look about you. Totally a Kier fan, am I right? Huh? I sighed, defeated as she wiggled her eyebrows playfully. Okay, fine, yes, it's Kier. Happy now? Ha, I knew it. I can spot Kier's stance from a mile away. Now it's my turn. What's the deal about Kier? The so-called cold look moon prince? Her teasing tone made my cheeks flush even more. I tried to compose myself, but the way she leaned in expectantly didn't help. I mean, I started fumbling for words. I avoided her gaze, my fingers nervously fiddling with the hem of my apron. Well, first of all, he's here. Like, have you seen him? Uh-huh, the visual dispensary, as the fans call him. The list thing, right? Or are they? I thought her a small glimmer but the heat in my face gave away my embarrassment. It's not just his looks. He's ridiculously good looking, but there's so much more to him. Sam smirked knowingly. Go on, I sighed, feeling my heart race as I thought about him. Okay, so he's an insane vocalist. Even critics say so, the way he hits those notes. It's like he's pouring his entire soul into every song. There's this raw passion in his voice that just, I don't know, gives me chills. Ooh, someone's swooning. Shut up, I muttered, hiding my face in my hands before continuing. It's his voice, though. He's got this deep passion for art and music. Did you know he's the one who designed the concept for their last album? He's so talented. It's unreal. It's like everything he touches turns into something beautiful. So basically, he's perfect. I hesitated, biting my lip as I mumbled, he is. At least to me. Sam's eyes widened with mock surprise. Oh my gosh, you're totally in love with him. What? I practically jumped, my face now fully red. I'm not. It's not like that. I just admire him as a fan. He burst out laughing, and I groaned, burying my face in my hands again. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about his voice. It feels familiar. Like I've heard it somewhere before. It's comforting, even when it's just through my headphones. Sam tilted her head, intrigued. Huh, that's kind of deep. Do you think maybe it reminds you of something from your past? I'm not sure, I admitted softly, twiddling my thumbs. But I can't deny he's basically a perfect match for my type. It's embarrassing to admit, but it's true. He's got that whole reserved, mysterious vibe, but you can tell there's so much more to him if you really look. How cute. Here's basically your dream guy, huh? I let out a small, frustrated whine. Stop teasing me. Sam chuckled, holding her hands in surrender. Alright, I'll stop for now. But better believe I'm not letting this go anytime soon. I slumped onto the counter, utterly defeated but unable to stop the small smile from forming on my lips. Looks like you two are having fun. What? Sam and I shrieked in unison. Okay, yes, I'm sorry. I usually say it the wrong way. I usually butcher that so bad. Whipping around to see Minji standing there with an amused look on her face. In her surprise, Sam stumbled backwards, smacking her head against the corner of the counter before losing her balance. Sam! I yelped, reaching out, but Minji was faster. She caught Sam by the arm just in time, steadying her before she could hit the floor. Sam stood upright, rubbing the spot where she bumped herself. Oh, geez, boss, you scared the life out of me. Once the initial shock wore off, the three of us burst into laughter, the tension melting away. God, it's good, boss. Sorry if we're slacking off and being too loud, she added sheepishly, scratching the back of her head. Minji waved her hand dismissively, her soft smile reassuring. It's fine, there are no customers yet anyways. But I actually came here to ask you for some help. Sam and I exchanged curious glances before turning back to Minji, intrigued. What kind of help? Without answering, Minji gestured for us to follow her. We trailed after her as she led us through the cafe and into the storage room. The air grew cooler as we stepped inside, surrounded by shelves stacked with boxes of supplies and ingredients. Minji stopped near a row of stacked crates and turned to us. We've got a delivery coming in soon, but before that, I need help organizing these. Some of the older inventory got mixed in with the new stock. Sam crossed her arms, surveying the organized boxes. Ooh, this is going to take a while, isn't it? Minji chuckled. Not if we work together. Besides, it's a slow evening, so now's the perfect time to get it done. Sam and I nodded in agreement, rolling up our sleeves. It looked like we would be spending some quality time in the storage room. After finishing the last round of cleaning and organizing, the three of us stood by the door, each carrying a lingering sense of satisfaction from the day's work. Mindy secured the lock with a soft click, signaling the official end of it. The quiet streets greeted us with a gentle breeze as we stepped outside. The glow of the street lights reflecting on the pavement. Jen stretched her arms over her head, letting out a content sigh, while I adjusted my bag over my shoulder. And Mindy gave us a small wave before heading in the opposite direction, her figure disappearing into the evening haze. Sam and I exchanged a tired but pleased look before we began walking down the familiar path home, the warmth of camaraderie still lingering even as the day came to a close. The more I walked, the stronger the feeling grew, like someone was watching me. It made my skin crawl. I spun around quickly, but there was no one. My grip tightened on my bag as that uneasy feeling clung to me, refusing to let go. Sweat started dripping down my forehead. I needed to get out of here. Fast. My footsteps picked up speed, each step louder than the last, as I focused on getting to my apartment complex as quickly as possible. My heart was pounding and adrenaline surged through me as I took turn after turn, navigating the familiar streets. Finally, I spotted the building in the distance. Squinting, I could make out the security guard standing at the large glass door. He must have noticed my panicked expression because as I jogged closer, his posture straightened like he immediately understood something was off. As soon as I stepped into the tiled entryway, he opened the door without hesitation. I gave him a quick bow of thanks, still touching my breath. He gave me a brief nod, silently acknowledging me, then motioned me inside. Without wasting another second, I hurried to the elevator, my focus set on the safety of my apartment. I could hear him take out his walkie-talkie and mumble something, probably to other security guards nearby to be on high alert. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, and I stepped in, dabbing the button for my floor. The moment the doors closed, I let out a sticky breath. My reflection of the polished steel walls showed the toll of the night had taken. Messy hair, wide eyes, and a face glistening with sweat. I leaned against the cool metal wall, trying to calm my racing heart. What was that? Why did I feel like something was following me? Someone was following me. The uneasiness hadn't fully left, even now as the elevator hummed softly on its way up. When the doors opened again, I hurried down the hallway to my apartment, fumbling for my keys. My hands were trembling, and it took me a moment to fit the key into the lock. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see someone standing there, but the hallway was empty and silent. Finally, the lock clicked, and I pushed the door open, stepping into the familiar warmth of my home. I shut the door behind me and I locked it, double checking that the bolt was secure. Only then did I let myself breathe, leaning against the door as my bag slid off my shoulder and hit the floor. The silence in my apartment was deafening. Normally it felt comforting, but tonight it made my skin crawl. I flipped on the lights, the sudden brightness chasing away the shadows, and walked to the window, pulling the curtains aside. I scanned the street below, looking for something. Someone. Nothing. Just the quiet streetlights and occasional car passing by. Still, that feeling lingered. Like an itch I couldn't scratch, I forced myself to move away from the window and head to the kitchen. A glass of water I decided would help settle my nerves. After finishing my glass of water, I set it down on the counter, the quiet clink breaking the uneasy silence that had settled over the apartment. I rubbed my temples, trying to shake off the lingering tension from earlier, and made my way towards my bedroom. As I reached the doorway, something felt off. The hell? The door was slightly ajar, swinging open with the faintest push of my hand. My stomach tightened. I never leave my bedroom door like that. Did I forget to close it this morning? I tried to rationalize it, the memory of rushing to get to work flashing through my mind. I had been running late, with my bag half packed as I dashed out the door. Maybe I just left it open in the chaos. But still, something didn't sit right. I stood there for a moment, staring into the shadowed room. The dim glow of the hallway light filled in, casting faint streaks across the floor. Everything looked normal. My bed was unmade, the laundry basket still overflowing in the corner, and the faint outline of my work desk sat against the far wall. But that uneasy feeling crept back in, slithering up my spine. My eyes darted to the window. It was closed, the curtains drawn tight. My gaze flicked to the closet. The door was shut, as it should be. It's fine, I told myself. I'm just paranoid after what happened earlier. Still, I couldn't shake the sense that something was out of place, like the air in the room was heavier than usual. I hesitated before stepping inside, my hand brushing against the doorframe as I flicked on the light. The soft glow illuminated the room, washing away the shadows. I took a deep breath and walked to my bed, tossing my bag onto the mattress. As I sat down to unlace my shoes, I glanced around the room again, trying to spot anything unusual. Everything seemed fine, but that didn't explain why my door had been left open or why it suddenly felt like I wasn't alone. Shaking off the strange feeling, I decided a hot shower might help clear my mind. And head. I grabbed a towel from the closet and headed to the bathroom, flicking on the light. The soft hum of the exhaust fan filled the space as I turned off the water, letting it run until steam began to clog up the mirror. The warmth of the shower was a welcome relief, washing away the tension that had clung to me since my walk home. I closed my eyes, letting the water cascade over my shoulders, and took a deep breath. For the first time that evening, I started to feel like myself again. Once I finished, I wrapped myself in a towel and stepped out, wiping a hand across the fogged up mirror. My reflection stared back at me, pale and tired, but at least I didn't look as frazzled as I had earlier. I made my way to my bedroom, the soft carpet squishing under my bare feet, and rummaged through my dresser for a pair of pajamas. Slipping into the familiar comfort of an oversized shirt and loose pants, I feel a bit more at ease. The tension in my shoulders eased as I moved to sit on the edge of my bed, running a hand through my damp hair. The routine of getting ready for the night felt grounding, like a reminder that everything was fine. I collapsed onto my bed, trenching into the soft embrace of my coziest sheets. Wow, this detergent smells strongly of amber. I yawned. The day's tension seemed to melt away, and as I nestled deeper into the warmth, my eyelids grew heavier with each passing second. The morning rush was already in full swing, the quiet of dawn replaced by the steady rhythm of a cafe. Sam stood beside me at the counter, her cheerful voice cutting through the low murmur of conversation as she greeted customers with her usual enthusiasm. Welcome to Mug. What can I get started for you? She chimed, her bright smile on success. I worked quickly beside her, pulling espresso shots and steaming milk, the comforting sounds of the coffee machines filling the air. The scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the warm, buttery aroma of pastries from the display case. The line moved steadily, orders flying between us as we worked in sync. Sam passed me cups to fill while I slid completed orders across the counter with practiced ease. Americano and almond croissant for takeout, I called out, glancing at Sam as she handed the customer the receipt with a cheerful smile. Thank you, have a great day. Moments like these were chaotic but oddly satisfying. The constant rhythm of taking orders, making drinks, and exchanging brief smiles and pleasantries felt like the heartbeat of the and it was a rhythm we knew well. The morning is going to be a busy one for sure. After what felt like hours of non-stop orders and clinking cups, the cafe finally settled into a peaceful lull. The bustling morning crowd had dwindled, leaving only a handful of customers scattered across the tables, quietly enjoying their coffee and pastries. The hum of conversation was low and soothing now, blending with the faint background music playing overhead. Sam and I found ourselves back at our usual spot, behind the counter, leaning against Sam's fit as we set out synchronized sighs of relief. She stretched her arms above her head, letting out a small groan before flashing me a grin. Finally, a breather, he muttered, brushing a few strands of her hair out of her face. I nodded, my hands wrapped around a warm mug of coffee I had quickly made for myself during downtime. This was our favorite part of the day, the calm between the rushes, when we could chat and relax without interruption. Sam propped her elbows on the counter, her chin resting in her palms as she looked out at the remaining customers. A couple near the window shared quiet laughter over their pastries, and an older man flipped through a newspaper with a half-empty cappuccino beside him. You know, Sam began, her voice a little softer now. I always wondered what it would be like to be one of them, sitting here relaxing instead of running around making drinks all day. I chuckled, taking a sip of my coffee. You'd get bored in 5 minutes. You love potatoes too much. She tilted her head in mock offense, but her grin gave her away. Hey, fair, but you have to admit they make it look nice and easy. I shrugged, setting my mug down. Maybe, but where's the fun and easy? You get more stories from behind the counter. Sam laughed at that, nodding in agreement. True. Speaking of stories, she leaned in closer, her voice dropping conspiratorially. Jessie just messaged me last night. I raised an eyebrow, intrigued, but already bracing myself for one of her dramatic reveals. Oop! She smirked, glancing around like she was about to share the world's biggest secret. A friend of a friend who met Lux backstage yesterday. My eyes widened and I leaned in as well. The mundane morning suddenly a lot more interesting. No way. You're lying. Where are my coffee addiction? Holding up 3 fingers in a mock scout pledge. I got details you're gonna want to hear. Sam's eyes sparkled with excitement as she dropped her voice even lower, making me lean in further to catch her words. So apparently, she began drawing out the suspense. This friend of a friend was working security at an event where Lux performed. Backstage here was, let's just, not as fun as everyone thinks he is. My heart skipped a beat. Wait, what do you mean? He smirked knowingly, clearly enjoying how invested I was. I mean, he wasn't the untouchable cold look moon prince. He was just joking around with the crew and even helped them carry some equipment. Can you imagine Kira doing something so normal? I blinked, trying to picture it. It's here. Or here, the elegant, ethereal school of Lux, hauling equipment. It was almost too surreal to believe. It's not all. Sam continued, her tone growing even more conspiratorial. I wonder what it would be like to experience that. Especially what Sam just talked about, joking around, seeing his smile, and most importantly, hearing his laughter. Oh, you're totally smitten. He teased, her grin widening. You've got that dreamy look on your face right now. Don't even try to deny it. I shook my head, trying to play it off. I'm not smitten, I just think it's nice, that's all. Uh-huh, sure. Dragging out the words in a tone dripping with sarcasm. You're practically writing his fan club manifesto in your head. I laughed, shoving her lightly. Stop it, Sam, you're being ridiculous. He smirked, leaning back. Ridiculous? So very accurate. Because honestly, it's cute how you light up whenever someone mentions fear. It's like a switch flips, and suddenly you're all soft and glowy. I felt the heat rising to my cheeks and quickly turned my attention to the customers, pretending to be busy. You're imagining things. Keep telling yourself that. Her tone smug, still not convinced. But if you ever meet him, I'm going to remind you of this conversation. The thought of actually meeting Kira sent a wave of nervous excitement through me, but I shook it off. Like that would ever happen. Sam just shrugged, a mischievous glint in her eyes. You never know, the world works in mysterious ways. And despite myself, I couldn't help but hope he was right. Mysterious ways. Speaking of mysterious ways, I wonder how he is doing. It's been a while since I've last seen him. The last time we saw each other was in 10th grade. That was it. My playdate as a toddler, and my only best friend in the world. He's been Nimcat. Sam's voice faded into the background as my thoughts drifted. Ethan. The name brought with it a flood of memories, vivid and bittersweet. We had been inseparable as kids, climbing trees, trading secrets, and planning out the grand futures we thought we'd have, like him being a superhero named Magma Boy. Let's be honest, superheroes don't exist, but it was fun role-playing as heroes when we were kids. I could still picture his goofy grin, the way his dark hair always fell into his eyes no matter how many times he tried to fix it. But life had its ways of pulling people apart. He moved away in the middle of 10th grade. And after that, we just lost touch. He texted here and there, a half-hearted promise to visit, but nothing that stuck. The only way I got to know about his whereabouts was from his mother, whom I'm still very close to. And yet, I couldn't help but wonder about him sometimes. Was he still the same? Had life been kind to him? Did he ever think about those days the way I had? Sam snapped her fingers in front of my face, breaking my review. Hello? Earth to Daydreamer, you're totally zoned out. What's on your mind? I blinked, shaking my head. Nothing, just thinking about someone I used to know. Ooh, do tell. I hesitated, a small smile tugging at my lips. Big deal, just this guy I used to be really close with, Ethan. We haven't talked in years, but he was my best friend growing up. Sam's eyes lit up with curiosity. Your best friend, huh? Is this one of those childhood friends turned lovers stories waiting to happen? I rolled my eyes, laughing. No, Sam, it's not like that. He was just important to me. Like the kind of person who made everything better just by being there. And you let him slip away? That's tragic. I shrugged, though the ache in my chest said other ways. Life happens, people grow apart. Sam leaned back, a thoughtful look on her face. You ever thought about reaching out? Maybe the universe isn't done with you two yet. I glanced down at my phone, my thumb hovering over the screen. Reach out? After all this time? I mean, I still have his number, but he's in another country, probably asleep. The idea seemed both ridiculous and tempting, and I wasn't sure which feeling would win. Ooh, whoopsies. Return. I mean, it's a good idea, but he's in another country. Time zones and all, plus he's probably really busy. I don't want to be a bother. I responded to Sam's suggestion with a small shake of my head. She frowned slightly, but nodded, respecting my choice. I get it. But seriously, you should think about it. I don't know him, but it's obviously meant a lot to you. Her smile was warm, and I couldn't help but smile back. Sam had a way of being encouraging without pushing too hard, always a sweetheart. Before I could say anything else, a deep voice interrupted. Excuse me, sorry, I'd like to order something if that's no trouble. Both of us jumped slightly, startled by the man standing nearby. He looked amused, clearly unsure if he should have spoken up or waited longer. I let out a nervous laugh, smoothing my apron as I quickly stepped forward. Oh, welcome to C-Mug. Sorry about that. What can I get for you? Sam stayed back, watching me as I effortlessly shifted into my friendly, professional demeanor. No worries. I'll take a latte. And maybe a welcome back hug from the barista. I froze mid-step, my hand hovering over the register. For a moment, I thought it had to be a prank or a case of mistaken identity, but the playful tone in the voice tugged at something familiar. I let out a small chuckle, trying to play it cool. Sure, I think he's got the wrong person. And then I looked up, and my breath hit. Standing in front of me, with the same mischievous grin I hadn't seen in years? What? So, no welcome back hugs included? My jaw dropped. Ethan. My voice was so loud with startled not him, but everyone at the cafe. I gave out an embarrassing smile and apologized to everyone. His grin widened as he leaned casually on the counter. The one and all? Surprised to see me? I couldn't believe my eyes. After all this time, there he was, standing right in front of me like no time had passed at all. What? You're back? My words came out as a stammered mess. Ethan's golden eyes looked away from mine, a blush forming on his cheeks. Sorry, I got excited and wanted to beat my mom at telling you the news first, then surprise you at work. But why do you look like you're not happy to see me? He pulled a fake frown, one he had perfected, even as a kid. Now that I thought about it, he looked so different. His outfit was more casual, relaxed, like he was finally comfortable in his own skin. His midnight blue hair was fluffier than I remembered, and most striking of all, his height and overall build. What on earth had they been feeding him in the States? And had he started working out? Ethan must have noticed me staring because he raised an eyebrow, his grin widening. Ethan leaned across the counter with that familiar smirk. I'm gonna bet you're thinking I look really handsome right now. Eh? I couldn't help but laugh. In your dreams. His grin widened, but I softened my tone. Come on, let's take this somewhere else. I need to let my coworker and boss know first, okay? He then blinked, his eyes widening as if he had just realized we were still standing in the middle of my workplace. He rubbed his back of his neck, letting out a sheepish grin. Alright, I forgot we were still here, my bad. I'll wait for you outside, yeah? Of course, I replied with a small smile. I'll leave and get started with your order. His eyes lit up, practically sparkling. Is the welcome up? No. He let out a dramatic whine, but the grin never left his face. Joking. I shook my head, chuckling softly at his antics as I turned to start preparing his order. He leaned on the counter, still radiating that playful energy that seemed to follow him everywhere. You know, his tone teasing but later now. You're always too good at putting me down. I'm starting to think you enjoy it. I glanced over my shoulder, raising an eyebrow. Maybe I do. Ethan gasped, clutching his chest in mock offense. Betrayed by my favorite barista, how will I ever recover? I rolled my eyes, but couldn't help the smile tugging at my lips. If you keep this up, I might put extra foam in your drink just to mess with you. His laughter echoed warmly in the quiet cafe. Go ahead, I'll just pretend it's artisanal? Okay. Yeah. I shook my head again, focusing on the task at hand. Ethan had this way of making the most mundane interactions feel lighthearted, like a small spark of joy that lingered long after he left. He chuckled and gave me a wink. Thanks for tolerating my nonsense. You're the best. Yeah, I replied, waving him off with a grin. Just don't cause any more trouble, alright? No promises, he said with a laugh, stepping away from the counter before I cleared my throat. Anyways, I'll take care of your order. Can you find a spot for us to sit? I need to inform my boss first. Oh, sure. The amazing Ethan will handle that. I snorted and giggled. This doofus. Never changed, Ethan. Never changed. The late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the outdoor seating area, painting everything in warm hues. I leaned back in my chair, sipping on my coffee as I studied the familiar face across from me. Ethan had barely changed. Same confident smirk, same easygoing demeanor, but there was something softer in his expression now, like he was genuinely relieved to be sitting here with me. Luckily, Minji agreed to let me take a break. I began setting my cup down. So, come on, Bill. How have you been? When the hell did you come back from America? Ethan grinned, leaning forward on his elbow. I've been busy. Came back about a month ago, actually. Didn't tell anyone at first. Wanted to get settled before reaching out. I raised an eyebrow. You? Keeping quiet? That's new. He chuckled, pressing the back of his neck. Yeah, well, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. You know how it is. I tilted my head, giving him a knowing look. Uh-huh, and how was college life? Did you get that degree, or should I be worried? Hey, give me some credit. He stopped back, mock offended. I did get it. Business management. Just like I said I would. Even graduated with honors, thank you very much. I blinked in surprise, a genuine smile sitting across my face. Well, I'm impressed. Didn't think you'd actually survive all those nighters. All those pollinators you used to complain about. Barely, he admitted with a laugh. But I miss you so much I started doing things that reminded me of you, like making your favorite snack when I was stressed, or listening to the playlist we used to share. My chest tightened at his words, the weight of nostalgia setting over me. You really miss me that much, huh? He nodded, his expression softening. Of course I did. You're not just an old friend, you're the friend. No one else gets me the way you do. I looked away, feeling a blush creep up on my cheeks. Oh, well, you're back now. Guess we've got a lot of catching up to do. He then smiled, the warmth in his gaze unmistakable. Yeah, we do. I'm not going anywhere this time, so you better get used to having me around again. I rested my chin in my hand, waiting, watching Keithan recount stories of his time abroad. His words came with usual charm, but there was something different about him. A softer edge to his tone, a lingering gaze that I didn't quite register as anything other than familiarity. You know, I said, smirking as I leaned back in my chair, still can't believe you actually graduated with honors. What happened to the Keithan who used to convince me to procrastinate on assignments? Keithan chuckled, the sound low and genuine. It made me feel oddly warm. You grew up, I guess. But for the record, I still believe in strategic procrastination. I just had a little voice in my head reminding me to stay on. I raised an eyebrow. A little voice? Please don't tell me you're giving me credit for your success. His smile softened, and his eyes seemed to linger on mine a moment too long. Who else would I give credit to? You've always been the one keeping me grounded, even from a distance. I think about you, about what you would say whenever I wanted to give up. I blinked, caught off guard by the sudden tenderness in his voice. I laughed awkwardly, brushing it off. Well, Ethan, I didn't know I was your motivational coach. Should have charged you for it. He laughed, but it wasn't the usual carefree sound. It was quieter, almost wistful. You were more than that, you know. You you were like home to me. No matter how crazy things got, I always felt like I could be myself with you. His words hung in the air, and I found myself fiddling with the rim of my coffee cup, unsure of how to respond. That's really sweet, Ethan. I didn't know you felt that way. He shrugged, looking away briefly before turning his attention back to me. Yeah, well, I guess being away for so long makes you realize what you've been missing. I chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. I hope you miss more than just my lectures on time management. He grinned. His grin returned, though it didn't quite reach his eyes this time. Oh, I miss plenty more than that. You laugh, you random rants about books and movies, the way you always ordered the same drink but acted like it was a big decision. Okay. I interrupted, feeling my cheeks flush under his steady gaze. You're starting to make me sound predictable. He shook his head, his voice dropping to a softer, almost reverent turn. Not predictable, just you, and that's more than enough. I laughed nervously, the weight of his words flying right over my head. The weight of his words flying right over my head? All right, Mr. Sentimental, let's not get too sappy now. People might think you're turning into a softie. Keaton's lips quirked into a small smile, but his eyes held something deeper, something I couldn't quite place. Maybe I already have. I tilted my head, giving him a curious look. What was that? Nothing. His grin widening as he leaned back in his chair. Just saying, it's nice to be back. I smiled, the warmth of his presence settling over me like a favorite blanket. It's nice to have you back, Ethan, really. For a moment, we just sat there, the world around us fading into the background. I couldn't help but laugh, the tension melting away as we fell into easy conversation. It felt like no time had passed at all, and yet there was a comforting sense of new beginnings in the air. To me, it was the easy comfort of an old friendship rekindled. We spent most of the afternoon catching up, sharing stories and laughing about the old days. The outdoor seating area was bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun when we started, but now it had just transitioned into the cool stillness of night, with street lights casting soft halos over the tables. The gentle hum of passing cars and the occasional clatter of late-night pedestrians filled the background. He then glanced at his phone, his eyes widening slightly. Ah, dude, I didn't mean to take up so much of your time, especially while you were working. He looked away, rubbing the back of his neck with a hint of embarrassment. Hey. I waved off his concern with a grin. It's no biggie. Minji was totally cool with it. She's the one who said I could take some time to talk. That isn't so bad, okay? At my reassurance, he then perked back up, but his deepest smile retorted. Well, in that case, then my thanks to your boss. She's got my eternal gratitude. I'll even leave a big tip, make it official. I laughed. Yeah, I'll let her know you're a man of your word. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. He leaned back and stared briefly, stretching before he said, the night air carried a faint, pale rustling through the nearby trees. Anyways, I really need to head out. Mother Goose is waiting for me at home, and you know how she is. Total worrywart. I nodded knowingly. Still the same, huh? I can already hear her nagging in my head. Steven, where are you? Do you even know what time it is? Where were you? Do you even know what time it is? He laughed, shaking his head. You're not far off. He's probably pacing by now. But honestly, good. It's nice to be back with family, even if it comes with all the fretting and motherly guilt trips. Yeah, I get that, I said, smiling softly. It's good to have people who care, even if they drive you a little crazy sometimes. Stephen gave me a look, his tone softening. And it's good to have old friends who still put up with me, even after all this time. I rolled my eyes, trying to brush off the sentiment before it got too sappy. Yeah, don't go getting all emotional on me now, he smirked, leaning down slightly to meet my gaze. Too late, I'll save the waterworks for next time, though. Deal? Deal, I said, laughing as I stood with him and walked towards the edge of the seating area. Before stepping onto the sidewalk, he turned back with a playful grin. Don't forget, you owe me a proper catch-up next time. And maybe a hug if you're feeling generous. I shook my head, smiling. We'll see about that. Now go before your mom sends out a search party. He laughed, waving as he headed off into the night. The warmth of his presence lingered even after he was gone, blending with the cool night air and leaving me with a strange mix of nostalgia and something I couldn't quite place. As Stephen walked away from the outdoor seating area, I stayed behind for a moment, watching him weave through the dimly lit towards his car. The soft glow of the streetlights reflected off the sleek surface of the vehicle as he unlocked it and slid into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life, a low, familiar sound that carried through the quiet evening. He didn't leave immediately, though. He paused, glancing in my direction through the windshield. For a brief second, our eyes met, and he gave a small wave, his smile illuminated by the faint glow of the dashboard. I returned the wave, standing there until the car began to roll forward, disappearing down the street with its taillights fading into the distance. A strange warmth lingered in my chest as I finally turned around, heading back towards the cafe's entrance. The night air was cool against my skin as I stepped inside, transitioned from the calm of the outside world to the familiar coziness of the cafe grounding me. Closing the door behind me, I let out a soft sigh, still caught between the nostalgia of the day and the quiet anticipation of what tomorrow might bring. As I stepped back into the cafe, the familiar aroma of coffee and faint chatter greeted me. I haven't taken 2 steps since Sam appeared out of nowhere, leaning casually against the counter with a sly grin on her face. So, she began, her tone light and teasing. How was the grand reunion? His sparks fly, old flames rekindled, don't leave me hanging. I rolled my eyes, setting down the tray of empty cups I had brought back from the outdoor table. It wasn't like that. We just caught up, that's all. Uh-huh. She crossed her arms, clearly unconvinced. Just catching up, huh? You were out there for hours. That kind of catching up? Sounds more like romantic leads in a drama. I gave her up that look, but the corners of my lips betrayed a small smile. Don't start, Sam. But she wasn't done. Leaning in closer, her grin widened. You know, now that I think about it, this is getting interesting. You've got here, your bias, the soulful, dreamy idol, and now Susan, the childhood bestie with charms for days. Which one's it gonna be? My cheeks immediately burned, and I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Oh my god, Sam. Um, hey, I'm just saying. She laughed, clearly enjoying how flustered I was. I mean, imagine the drama. The idol versus the best friend? This could be a whole movie. Yeah, one where I walked out and refused to play lead, I muttered, shaking my head. Sam finally relented, though she was still grinning ear to ear. Fine, fine, but you're gonna tell me more about your little catch-up later, right? I sighed, knowing she wasn't going to let it go. We'll see. Now can I please get back to work before Minji catches us slacking off? Fine, boss. With a mock salute, but a mischievous smirk lingered as he grabbed a cloth and started wiping down the counter. As I walked away, I couldn't help but smile to myself. Sam was relentless, but her teasing only reminded me of how much she cared. Even if the whole peer on or Kevin thing was absurd, a tiny part of me couldn't help but wonder. I'm not sure. Kevin is just the best friend. We've been buddies since we were kids. And Youre is an idol. There's no way I'll be able to meet him. I let out a quiet sigh, shaking off the lingering thoughts as I slipped back into the rhythm of the night shift. I swept the floor of the now empty, lit-up cafe. It's almost closing time and I gotta clean the place for tomorrow. With Sam leaving early due to a sudden stomachache and Minji needing to handle something important, I was left to man the cafe alone. The evening had been mostly quiet, save for a few late-night regulars who had already cleared out. Now as closing time loomed, I focused on cleaning the counter, my thoughts inevitably wandering. Keegan's voice played back in my head, so full of laughter and warmth, as if we hadn't missed a beat since we had last seen each other. It was comforting, but then my mind shifted to the memory of Kira's voice. Smooth, captivating, and strangely familiar in ways I couldn't explain. A small sigh escaped my lips as I scribbled at an already spotless spot on the counter. The soft chime at the doorbell snapped me out of my musings, and I glanced up, expecting a straggler. Instead, my heart skipped a beat. A towering man stepped into the cafe, dressed head to toe in black. He wore a sleeveless turtleneck with a small cut that exposed just a hint of his chest, paired with black leather pants and combat boots. Over it all was a sleek black jacket with bits of midnight blue that practically screamed designer. But what really caught my attention was his hair. It was impossibly long, very light blonde with black tips and roots. There is no frickin' way. Then he saw me. His handsome face broke into a smile, and his midnight blue eyes seemed to shimmer under the soft cafe lighting. Like tiny stars were twinkling in them. Excuse me, he began, his voice soft and smooth. I know you're about to close, but could I place an order? Just for 3 people. I blinked, momentarily stunned by how familiar his voice sounded. It clicked all too quickly and my stomach flipped. No way, this couldn't be happening. Sorry, I managed to say, keeping my voice steady. What can I get for you? He stepped closer to the counter, glancing briefly at his phone before responding. 2 caramel lattes and 1 iced Americano to go. I nodded and started punching in the order, but my hands felt shaky. Was it really him? He didn't have any sort of cover on, just out there in the open. My hands fumbled on the screen, tapping the wrong buttons over and over. My heartbeat quickened, and the shaking in my fingers grew worse. I couldn't contain my excitement anymore. It was completely overwhelming me. Like my body was just shutting down from the sheer intensity of it all. Without noticing, I felt a soft touch on my hand. Startled, I looked at the figure leaning closer, his face just inches from mine. His expression was gentle, but tinged with worry. It's alright, take your time. He stopped, his voice low and soothing. If you're having a bad day, I don't mind waiting for my order. I could feel myself melting under his concerned gaze, heat rushing to my face. No, I'm fine. It's just that, Before I could embarrass myself further, Kira let out a deep, velvety chuckle. A fan. He teased, his lips curling into an amused smile. I slumped down in defeat, my shoulders sinking as I gave him the deepest, apologetic look. He's grand, actually. Sorry if it made things awkward. For a second, his eyes widened in surprise, and I caught the faintest blush creeping onto his cheeks. He glanced away, clearing his throat, but I could still see the flicker of a smile on his lips. "Miss you," he muttered. Then, as if he couldn't help himself, I heard him mumble under his breath. "So, it actually worked." "Wait, what?" I blinked, tilting my head. "I'm sorry, did you say something?" Claire quickly straightened up, flashing me a grin that was half playful, half mischievous. "No, nothing important," he said with a wink. "I just meant I don't mind having you as a fan." I felt my cheeks heat up again. But before I could respond, he leaned a little closer, resting his elbow on the counter and propping his chin in his hand. His midnight blue eyes sparkled with mischief. "But you know," he continued, his tone turning playful, "if you're such a huge fan, doesn't that mean I deserve some special treatment? Maybe a smile? Or even my order on the house?" I blinked, taken aback by his sudden boldness. "Wait, what?" He chuckled, again, leaning back slightly, but still watching me with that teasing grin. "Relax, I'm kidding, mostly, unless you want to spoil." I groaned, trying to cover my burning face with my hands. Your laugh, the sound rich and warm, and I couldn't help but peek through my fingers. His expression softened, the playfulness still there, but gentler now. "Right," his voice dropping just a little bit. "Thanks for not causing a scene," Claire said, leaning softly against the counter as I wiped it down. The cafe was quiet now, with just the faint hum of the machines and the soft rustling of the closing routine. His voice was low, calm, but laced with warmth. "I appreciate being treated like everyone else." I fumbled with the rag in my hand, feeling my heart race at his easy smile. I stammered, keeping my eyes down on the counter. "You're a customer, right?" He chuckled softly, the sound sent a flutter through my chest. "Just a customer, huh?" he repeated, tilting his head slightly. "I don't know. Doesn't that feel a little unfair to say about your favorite celebrity?" My cheeks burned, and I looked away quickly. "You're really not going to let that go, are you?" "Nope," with a grin, his midnight blue eyes sparkling in the soft glow of the cafe light. "Not every day I meet someone who admits they're a huge fan. Kind of boosts my ego, you know." I tried to suppress a laugh, failed, the nervous tension in my chest loosening just a bit. "Your ego? I feel like that's the last thing you need help with." Pierre leaned a little closer over the counter, his grin widening. "Ouch, that hurt, really." Pierre leaned a little closer over the counter, his grin widening. "But if you're so worried about my ego, maybe you could balance it out. Say something nice to me." I ducked my head, clutching the rag tighter. "I don't think that's a good idea." I mumbled. "Why not?" he teased, his tone light but persistent. "Come on, I won't hold it against you, promise." I bit my lip, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks before managing. "Fine, your order was pretty normal." "I'll give you credit for not being one of those customers." He let out a mock gasp, placing a hand dramatically over his chest. "Normal? No, here, you're so talented, or wow, you're even more handsome in person." I groaned through my lips, though my lips twitched into a smile. "Fishing for compliments," I muttered, my voice soft but warm. "Because I'm fishing," he countered smoothly, leaning just a bit closer, his smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Maybe I just like hearing it from you." I froze, my breath hitched as I looked at him. His gaze was steady, teasing but gentle, and it left me completely unprepared. I stammered, feeling my words slip away. He laughed softly, his voice rich and warm, before pulling back. "Relax," his tone softening. "I'm just messing with you. It's been a long day, and honestly, this is the most fun I've had in hours." I busied myself by wiping the same spot on the counter, avoiding his gaze, but feeling the tension in my shoulders. "Well, glad to know I'm entertaining, I guess," I mumbled shyly. Claire chuckled again, standing upright. "Hey, The place is closing, right? Need help putting the chairs up or something? I'm surprisingly good at manual labor. I blinked, looking up at him in surprise. Wait, what? You serious? Why not? With a casual shrug, his smile was so effortlessly charming it made my heart skip. You've been working hard. Besides, I figure if I help, maybe you'll like me enough to give me a free drink next time. I shook my head, finally letting out a small laugh. You're unbelievable. He winked, grabbing a nearby chair and slipping it onto his table with exaggerated flair. I've been called worse. As we worked, he kept cracking jokes, like when he held up the chair and said, "Do you think this is my good side?" Or when he tried to sweep, but mostly just pushed dust around. You're terrible at this, I said, trying not to laugh as I took the broom from him. He grinned, leaning onto the counter. Hey, I'm trying. Besides, I'm more of a motivational person than an actual worker. You mean a distraction? I corrected, smiling despite myself. Same thing, he said with a shrug, his grin growing. But at least I got you to smile. Before doing anything else, he took off his jacket and placed it away on the chair. Oh! Kira grabbed a chair and flipped it onto the table with effortless ease. I watched him nervously, clutching the rag in my hands as I wiped down the counter for the third time. You don't have to help, you know, I mumbled, glancing at him. He smirked, brushing imaginary dust off his shoulders. What kind of person would I be if I just stood here while you did all the work? I'm curious, how do cafes close? There's some secret ritual? I blinked, caught off guard. Not really, we just clean and lock up, I said quietly, my voice trailing off. Kira leaned on the table. He just cleared, tilting his head to look at me. Well, that's boring. I was hoping for something more dramatic, like chanting over the espresso machine or making sacrifices to the coffee god. A nervous giggle escaped me before I could stop it. No sacrifices, just lots of cleaning. Cleaning. He grabbed another chair. The glamorous side of cafe life. Maybe I'll add it to my resume? Professional chair flipper? What do you think? I bit my lip, trying to stifle a laugh. I think you're not taking this seriously. Me? Not serious? He feigned offense, holding the chair up like it was a trophy. I'll have you know I'm very dedicated to my craft. To this technique. I couldn't help but laugh, my nerves beginning to fade. You're ridiculous, I muttered, shaking my head. Ridiculously helpful, you mean? He quipped, placing the chair on the table with a flourish. He let out a cheeky grin before putting his jacket back on. I started to sweep the floor, my hands steadying as my confidence grew. Kira grabbed the broom from the corner and attempted to join in. His sweeping was less than effective. You're doing that all wrong, I said, the words slipping out before I could think. He looked up at me with wide eyes, his expression mock hurt. Wow, hey, way to crush a guy's spirit. No, I didn't mean it like that, I stammered, waving my hands in panic. He glanced down at the floor, then back at me with a lopsided grin. Guess I'm not cut out for this after all. Maybe I'll just be devastatingly handsome instead. I ducked my head, face warming. You're impossible. And yet, he leaned on the broom like it was a prop. Here I am, making you smile. Which, by the way, looks very cute on you. I froze, my heart skipping a beat. Before ducking my head again to grow my growing smile. You're just doing that. Am I? His voice was softer now, but still playful. Maybe I just like seeing you happy. I peeked up to him, my nerves easing as the smile turned warm and genuine. Well, thanks, I guess, I said, my tone softer now, too. No problem, he replied, sweeping badly before laughing. So, do I pass the audition? Can I join the team? I giggled, shaking my head. Not a chance. You're more work than help. Ouch. He clutched his chest dramatically. That's cold. But hey, if putting up with me means I get to see that smile again, I'd say it's worth it. I rolled my eyes, but couldn't stop the laugh bubbling up. Fine, you're not completely useless. Happy? Very. Grinning as he propped the broom against the wall. I knew you'd win me. I knew I'd win you over. As we finished closing up, Pierce kept cracking jokes, and as I found myself laughing more easily with every quip. By the time the cafe was ready to lock up, my nerves were long gone, replaced by a warmth I couldn't quite place. Thanks for the help, I said shyly as we stood by the door. Anytime, Kier, Kier replied, his tone playful but sincere. Hope we can meet again. And next time, maybe I'll earn that employee discount. I laughed, shaking my head. Don't push your luck. He winked. Worth a shot. He grabbed the takeout cup and took a sip, his eyes lighting up as he let out a satisfied hum. Looks like I'll be coming back here often. His voice warm and teasing, then with a cheeky grin he added, Coffee's delish, especially when it's made by a cute barista. My cheeks immediately flared up and I nearly dropped the rag in my hand. Hey! I stammered, my voice squeaking slightly. Kier let out a loud laugh. It sounded rich and unrestrained. It was so different from his polished public image that I found myself staring for a moment. He caught my gaze and tilted his head slightly, the grin softening into something more genuine. Thanks again. His tone now quieter, sincere. You really made my day after a pretty stressful one. Before I could respond, he opened the front door and stepped out into the cool evening air. With one last wave, he was gone, leaving me standing there, frozen in place with my heart racing. As soon as the door shut, I let out a strangled squeal, dropping to the floor and covering my mouth with my hands. My legs gave out as the realization hit me. I just met Kier. Pam wasn't lying when she said he was nothing like his so-called cold look moon persona. He wasn't distant or intimidating. He was casual, playful, and flirty. I groaned, my cheeks burning all over again at the memory of his teasing grin. How was I supposed to process this? My brain felt like it was short-circuiting. I buried my face in my hands, muffling another scream. Finally, I forced myself to stand, my legs still wobbly as I moved to finish the last few touches before officially closing the shop. The cafe was eerily quiet now, but my thoughts were anything but calm. So many things happened today. I whispered to myself, leaning on the counter for support. My heart still hadn't slowed down. I'm going to burst. As I wiped the last table and turned off the lights, I couldn't help but smile, despite my frazzled nerves. Pierre's laugh echoed faintly in my mind, and his parting words played over and over again. Looks like he'll be coming back here often. That sent another rush of warmth to my cheeks. If this was how the day ended, I wasn't sure I was ready for what tomorrow might bring. That awful feeling is gone now. I don't feel like no one was following me home. Oh, Pierre pulled. Pierre climbed in the black van, carefully balancing the takeout cup in one hand. Min was slumped against the seat, fast asleep, while Aurel followed behind, holding a small bag of takeout. Sorry for making you wait, Aurel said, sliding the van door shut. His tone was apologetic, though tinged with the usual calm demeanor. I had to get takeout, and Min... He paused, glancing at the redhead asleep. Oh, he's out cold. Pierre chuckled softly, placing his takeout on the folding table attached behind the car seat. It's fine, Nora. He leaned back against the seat with a small smile. Anyway, I got you guys coffee. At the mention of coffee, Min stirred, his head lifting groggily, his deep voice broke the quiet. One of them an iced Americano? Pierre raised the cup with a faint grin. Ice, kinda melted, but still cold. Min extended a hand lazily, too tired to fully sit up. Oriel reached for the cup instead, carefully passing it to their main dancer. The moment Min took a sip, his entire body seemed to relax, a satisfied sigh escaping his lips. Finally, he muttered, his voice still gravelly from sleep. Oreo chuckled at the sight, shaking his head as he slid into his seat. That dance practically wiped you out, huh? Min rested his head against the window, taking another sip of his drink. That, and that crazy woman, his tone sharp with lingering irritation. She's delusional, thinking I'm her destiny or something. The van grew quiet for a moment as the weight of the earlier incident settled in. Oriel's calm demeanor faltered slightly, his brows furrowing. He glanced at Kier, who was busy unpacking the takeout. Right, Oriel said softly, his voice more serious now. The whole mess turned the company upside down. Didn't they just overhaul the entire staff because of it? Kier nodded, the expression neutral, though. His movements were slower, more deliberate. Yeah, security's been on high alert ever since. Min exhaled, frustration still palpable. It's exhausting, he admitted. Sometimes I think about how much easier things were before all of this. He gestured vaguely, his hands still gripping the coffee cup. Oriel leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Easier maybe, but none of this is your fault, Min. You're not the one causing these problems. He glanced up from his seat, his usual playful smirk replaced with something softer. Yeah, Young's right. Don't let one person ruin what we've worked so hard for. He paused, then added with a grin, trying to lighten the mood. Besides, you wouldn't survive a day outside this life. You'd be crawling back for an iced Americano by noon. Min scoffed, though the corner of his lips twitched upward. Those the guys who can't go 10 minutes without stealing a sip of my drink. Oriel laughed, the tension in the air easing as he sat back against the seat. You two really can't go 5 minutes without bickering, can you? Kier shrugged, his grin widening. Part of the charm. As the van began to move, the three of them settled into a more comfortable silence. The earlier stress seemed to fade, replaced by the familiar camaraderie always pulled them through the hardest days. The driver, who had been quietly listening until now, finally chimed in, his voice light and teasing. Speaking of surviving this life, your manager told me to pass on some news. All three of them turned to look at him, curiosity piqued. The driver glanced at them through the rearview mirror, a small grin on his face. Apparently a famous chef reached out. He's inviting you to a restaurant tomorrow night to celebrate your latest release. But it's on the house, too. Kier's eyes widened, his grin lighting up his face. Wait, seriously? Which staff? The driver shrugged, trying to play it cool. Someone big. Yunju. Your manager seemed pretty excited about it. Told me to make sure you guys don't have plans. Oriel leaned back, crossing his arms with a small smile. Well, that's definitely something to look forward to. Man raised his cup in mock toast, his grumpiness giving way to a faint smirk. Free food? Guess I'll forgive the universe for today's chaos. Kier laughed, nudging Min's shoulder lightly. You're only in it for the food? And you're not? Min shot back, earning another laugh from Kier. Oriel shook his head at their banter, his expression softening. I forgot to check, have you guys seen Sinhee's update on the collab? Oriel snapped his fingers, as if this collab hadn't been something that had plagued his mind since the moment it was presented. Definitely, it's gonna be amazing, I tell ya. He's the leader of the old school for a reason. Min spoke up, nodding in admiration and awe. I've heard she's mostly done work on her own. Can you handle seniors, son? Kier eyed Oriel, a playful smirk on his lips. Ah, very funny. She's the best there is. Oriel shook his head, a smile tugging at his lips. This collab is gonna be the collab of the century. The Sunhee isn't gonna hear him. Min declared, rolling his eyes. Alright, don't hound me. Kier held up a hand in mock surrender, a smirk still etched onto his lips. Alright, boys, let's go home first. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. The van eased into the quiet hum of the road as the three of them fell into comfortable chatter, the earlier tension replaced with anticipation for what the next day might bring. Alright, speaking of Nim Inju, I heard her son is back in the country. Min and Kier both perked up, exchanging curious glances. "You have a son?" His tone was casual, but there was a spark of interest in his eyes. Oriole nodded, a, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah, he mostly stays out of the public eye. But you know how the media loves to dig up anything they can." Min tilted his head thoughtfully. "What's his name again? I remember. He married a foreigner. No, I'm serious." Oriole's grin widened slightly, as if savoring the build-up. "I think it was He's in Nimfast or something?" Yuri's expression froze, his usual calm demeanor slipping for a split second. His jaw tightened, but the other two didn't seem to notice as they kept talking. "So he's been abroad all this time?" "Yeah, in the States, studying, I think. Word is he came back about a month ago and has started making appearances here and there. Good for him. With a degree and that kind of family backing, he'll probably land himself a solid career. Being an heir doesn't hurt either." His fist clenched under the table, his mind racing. He's been back. The name echoed in his head, stirring emotions he thought he had buried long ago. Anger, frustration. How did he not see this coming? After years of searching, years of waiting. He took a slow breath, his thoughts bouncing. "I won't let Ethan take them from me again." Me? Us? The memory of being separated still stung, and he wasn't about to let history repeat itself. Whatever it took, whatever it cost, he wouldn't let anyone stand in his way. A sudden jolt rocked the van, causing Kier to almost spill his coffee. The abrupt motion startled Min and Oriole. "Whoa, careful." He leaned forward, steadying Kier's cup before it tipped over. "Man, you good? You almost lost that." Kier forced a smile, but his voice calm but clipped. "I am fine." Oriole and Min exchanged glances, but he didn't press further. Returning to the conversation, Kier leaned back, gripping his cup tightly. "It doesn't matter what it takes." His gaze hardened as the thought settled deep in his chest, a cold, unrelenting truth. "I'll protect what's mine." "No, I'll claim what's mine." Okay, and that's the end of it. I'm very excited to see what comes up next, but I am gonna go because it's been an hour and a half. But I will come back next update and see what this happens for us.